I want to start this review out with a bang. Now, I'll probably regret saying this, but I've said this before, but I'm starting a video out with this. I want to say, first off, rest in peace to Saint Romero, the greatest horror director of all time, at least to me. I can't believe that there exists a movie that I think legitimately out-zombies Dawn of the Dead. I do. I can't help it. And the reason I compare these two movies is because not only did they come out right next to each other, but they're really kind of intertwined with, you know, Dawn of the Dead being called Zombie overseas. But I'm just going to say it. I think Zombie 2, Zombie Flesheaters, whatever your preferred title is, I think Zombie Flesheaters is better than Dawn of the Dead. Now, I know that's probably insane to say, but that's how I feel. And even if you disagree, you have to admit they're pretty close. I mean, we're talking about Lucio Fulci here. Lucio Fulci has to be one of the most incredible stories. I mean, I am ignorant of this until I started doing a little bit of research. Fulci didn't just appear in the mid-70s and start doing these crazy horror films, and then in the early 80s made these insane movies and built a career off that. He was doing movies well before that, decades before that. I believe a lot of them were like Western type films and other kinds of genres, but it wasn't really until, I guess, around the late mid-70s to where he started to shift a little bit, maybe a little bit before that, but really get into these horror genres and these gross out gore genres. And in 1979, he made, we'll call it Zombie Flesheaters for this video, considering that's what this release has it as, but he made Zombie Flesheaters. This is the movie, you have to say that Suspiria and Zombie are the two movies that really crossed over. Like when you talk about the Italian movies, when I was getting into horror, Suspiria was always right up in my face. Like I couldn't get away from like videos talking about 80s and 70s horror films with Suspiria getting mentioned. The other film was Zombie. Not Tenebrae, not The Beyond, not Phenomenon, not Manhattan Baby, not The New York Ripper, not City of the Living Dead. Zombie. Zombie was the film. This is a crossover movie in some ways, and I think Zombie is a freaking masterpiece. I love it. Most people have seen it, so I don't really feel the need to want to go over the plot that much. Zombie really is a movie that personifies the genre of zombie films, because to me, when I think about zombies, a couple things come to mind. Bill Heinzman, the greatest zombie of all time from the beginning of Night of the Living Dead. And then I think about, obviously, zombies that move quick. That's another trait that we saw in Return of the Living Dead. And when I think about zombies that are gross, Lucio Fulci's film comes to mind. Let's just talk about the opening sequence. When the boat is on the water near the dock of New York City, and the police get on the boat, and finally, the fisherman zombie comes up. He looks grotesque and nasty. It almost looks like the fat yellow zombie from the remake of Night of the Living Dead that she's hitting over the head with the hammer, except make him look decrepit, make him look bacterial, make him look disgusting, almost look like he's a part of the earth. That's what he looked like. And then he gets shot and that zombie falls out into the water. That scene alone is legendary. One of my favorite zombie scenes of all time. Then you go through the rest of this movie, and once we get to this island where they have to go to, you just feel like you're in hell. This island is hell. And also, Zombie has to be one of the most humid films. But the scene I want to talk about briefly, because I can't emphasize how impressive this is. Not only did they actually have a zombie fight a shark, but I have to say this. The shark footage that they got in Zombie is as good as almost anything I've ever seen of horror movie shark footage in general. I'm not going to say it beats the stuff that's used in Jaws, for God's sakes, but it's up there. I mean, the stuff that they shot with that shark is gorgeous. And that scene with the zombie and the shark has to be one of the most incredible horror movie scenes of all time. And if you watch it on a big screen, it'll just blow you away. So Zombie is my favorite Fulci film. I think it is a masterpiece of horror. I think it is a masterpiece of the zombie genre. And while Saint Romero is my favorite director of all time, and I don't think it beats Night of the Living Dead, or maybe even Day of the Dead, I do think that Zombie eclipses Dawn of the Dead just by a little bit. Hate me if you want, I'm sorry. So guys, Blue Underground has their releases of this. Now, they have a 4K, and they also had a 3-disc Blu-ray, which was from a 4K restoration. That's what I personally had of Zombie. And I remember this was around 2020, 2021, and I was like, Blue Underground is great. I should probably get that release. But I was like, no, Arrow will do it. I know that Arrow had put out Blu-rays of Zombie Flesh Eaters in the past. Granted, it might have been back in like 2014 or something, but I was like, they'll do it. It'll come. Took longer than expected, but I did wait, and I got my wish. Zombie Flesh Eaters, the 4K release from Arrow Video. Now, let's take a look at the presentation, and I actually want to talk about something with the picture quality with this that I'm really going to need some experts, people that are really more in tune with the mechanics of doing 4K that can comment on this better. But I have a good buddy named Kyle. Shout out Kyle. He did want me to mention this about this that is different from Blue Underground. We'll talk about that in just a second. All right, guys, so check out this beauty. Zombie Flesh Eaters. Love the purple tone. Iconic scene with the ice pick in the eye. Now, with Arrow's releases, they are now doing slipcovers over their cases. The only thing I wish was different is on this, it's a very much of a matte, not shiny cover, where the slip is glossy shiny. I prefer this artwork with the glossier look than the matte look. So the matte look of this is just a little flat on this. I kind of wish I would have opted for the Arrow store exclusive, but I do like the purple colored tones on this. So our back is just, there you have it. You get your poster. And I'll show you this, that way you get a sense of it. If you flip your artwork on the Blu-ray case, you can have this Zombie 2 artwork. The other side you can hang up is obviously the same artwork that's on the case. So you get your poster. Wow, that smells strong. We also get our booklet about Zombie 2. I have not had a chance to look through most of this yet, but Jack Sargent is talking about this. Death, Rot, and Decay, Zombie Flesh Eaters, a Partial Autopsy. Very cool. Looking forward to reading some of this. Heather Wixon. So there's a bunch of critics that are talking about this movie. Here's another part of this. Very cool. It's going to be great to read through this. Yeah, looking forward to this. There you have it. There's your table of contents. So you've got a bunch of chapters about the book and the importance of the film through other critics. Oh, there's the infamous shot of the zombie with the shark. And, of course, you get your 4K. Now, this is a 4K only release. Keep that in mind. Again, you can have that Zombie 2 poster, or you can have this. Truth be told, if they would have had this artwork on the slip box, I would not have complained. You've got everything you need. The iconic dirt zombie. You got the shark zombie up there. You've got, the warriors down there. You got the boat zombie from the beginning, which is probably my favorite scene of the movie. So I actually like this art even more than this, which is on the slip box. This won me over. I love this even more. Now, on the inside, we do get some goodies. The Oily Maniac card. We got that card for Zombie. There's another one. There you have it. Wow. I actually like that these are black and white. I mean, it's a nice touch. I'm not into these cards that much, but the black and white does add to the creep factor. There you have it. I'm going to show y'all the back of this. This release is freaking stacked. I can't even stop to read all this. It would just take too long. But they did a lot of new stuff. So before we look at the back of this, there's 3 cuts of the movie. There's the zombie cut, the Zombie Flesh Eaters cut, and then the Zombie 2 cut. I watched the Zombie Flesh Eaters cut. I can't remember offhand how much different that is than just the zombie cut. I know that those have the English dubs, and obviously the Zombie 2 cut, unless I'm confusing, the Zombie 2 has the Italian audio. I prefer the English dub on this. Let's look at the back, guys, and I'm just going to briefly kind of just talk about this as an overview. But if you look back here, this is a 4K from a 2-perf Technoscope negative. Does a HDR10 compatible as long as Dolby Vision. There is a lot of new stuff. There's new audio commentaries. There's brand new visual essays by critics. There is a lot of great stuff and a lot of old stuff that they put on here. It's just absolutely stacked. There is Q&As from conventions with the composers in here. Absolutely stacked release. It would take you a very long time to go through all this. So I appreciate the effort put into this. It was well worth the wait in terms of that sort of stuff. I am putting this back together. Oh, I should show you the disc, just in case you guys want to see that. There is the disc, Zombie Flesheaters. Obviously, it's 4K, which means what? That's right, it's region-free. So as I'm putting this back in here, I do want to talk to you guys about the picture quality. The picture quality, I did pop on my 3-disc Blue Underground release. Very impressive release. That was the 3-disc release where they did do a 4K restoration. Very competitive and impressive release. I don't say this lightly. I think that this release right here is a 9.9 out of 10. I think this looks absolutely incredible. So perfect. The evenness of this movie the whole way through, the level of detail. It was interesting. As I was watching the movie, there were moments where I just wanted to stand up and stand really close to the TV to look at it. It's even sharper than it even lets on, too, if you really get up close. This movie looked absolutely stunning. I was in love with it. Now, here's the thing I want to talk about that's of relevance. Obviously, Blue Underground has their 4K out there. Now, this is not necessarily hearsay. I had an extensive conversation with a buddy of mine named Kyle, Shadow Kyle. Just want to be polite and mention you because you did bring this up to me, and I want to give you the credit for this because this is out of my wheelhouse. I'm a very peanut butter and jelly kind of guy. I'm very basic, talk about what I see, and that's what I mentioned. But he did say, Christian, the thing about the Arrow release is they do their own encoding on their 4Ks. And their encoding, I can't remember if it was just from a technical aspect he was mentioning this or not, but he did say, in his opinion, he's seen both cuts of these, that the Arrow version did eclipse the Blue Underground 4K because the encoding was done better on Arrow from his perspective. And I obviously can't say for sure of that myself because I don't have the Blue Underground one, but that's something I want to open up a little bit of dialogue about and hear from other people that are more in the know about the technical side of things like that. I would love to learn, quite frankly. I think this is just a fantastic release. Arrow did a great job. This is absolutely one of my favorite releases of the year. I love the purple. Kind of wish I would have got the store exclusive. I did like the artwork on that. But overall, guys, I'm going to give this release an absolute I'm going to give it a perfect 10. I really loved it. Just, they killed it. Arrow did a great job. I expect them to do a great job, and I'm glad I held out. So there you have it. Zombie Flesheaters, 4K, Arrow video. Pick it up, get it, and enjoy it. I love the movie. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.